at The Brighter Side encourage learning and fun and positivity and growth. Sometimes you like to nerd out on weird specific stuff. So today, the girls, we're all going to nerd out on medieval history, and we each have a little bit of specific stuff we're going to discuss. So welcome to Nerding Out on this episode of The Brighter Side.
Yay!
Yay!
Oh, gosh, I'm so pumped.
Yeah, Ashley's a teacher.
I'm a teacher.
So you're going to take the lead.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. And you know what? If you have a question, raise your hand. And I'll try and get to you if I can. So when we're talking about the medieval period, we're talking about medieval Europe, right? That's the time period we're talking about. And it's important to know that during this period, during the Middle Ages, a lot of different stuff is happening around the world, right? Like these huge empires are being built in West Africa, and they're gold rich from the trans-Saharan subtrades. And there's this intellectual, this intellectual jewel of a city, Timbuktu, where the University of Sankore is. And, China has these great dynasties that are happening, and they're inventing all of this stuff like gunpowder and paper and vaccines. And then Europe is not doing great. Okay. Europe
didn't get the memo.
Europe is in a rebuilding time period. It's very rough. So yes, Amber. Thank you. A hand. Yes.
So if Europe was so like in the dirty darks, but everywhere else was like they were kind of flourishing, and like the richest man in the world for all time. Yes, he was around the Middle Ages in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So why do we discuss Europe so much? Like why do we think of that?
That's a great question, and I'm going to ask you, why do you think America focuses so much on European history in the Middle Ages?
We came from there.
Yeah. And also like. It's a pretty white-centric, country, and a pretty white European-centric history. Specifically for us, history has been very European-based in public schools. Like, new generations, it's much more world-based, world history-based. But I do think we focus when we talk about, in America specifically, when we talk about the Middle Ages, we're talking about Europe. Or when we talk about medieval times, we think of Europe.
Right.
Yeah, Middle Ages, though, it's a very different time period for a lot of different places, and everyone wasn't flourishing. There's other things happening in different parts of the world, but let's start with Europe, okay? Let's get into Europe. Oh, I see a hand up.
Oh gosh. Okay, I don't know if did you say this? What year are we talking about?
Okay, great question. So we're going to start. Historians pretty much all agree that the Middle Ages in Europe, medieval period, starts in 476 with, anybody have a guess?
After death of Jesus?
Nope, he died 476 years before that, right? Don't we start time with, we start time with his birth, right? Because it's BC is before Christ and AC is after Christ. Now we call BC before Common Era, and we call AC after Common Era. But traditionally, BC meant before Christ.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you could be like 33... What was it called when he was 33 years old?
Well, I think they had a different calendar at the time, so it was
this
whatever
is all
date
like
that
us
was.
Making up time.
Yeah,
we could be living in the year 1700.
Who the hell knows?
Who the hell knows? Okay, 476, Rome falls. Boom, bump, Rome falls. Rome falls. Specifically, Western Rome falls. When we talk about Rome falling, we're talking about Western Rome falling. Eastern Rome and Byzantine, that goes on for another 1,000 years, okay?
For real?
For
Wow.
real. For real. Rome was split in two when Constantinople moved the capital, but that's a different lesson for a different day. Okay,
Wow.
476, Rome falls. And what I always say is Rome falls and Europe plunges into darkness. And what I mean by that, it's a very dramatic statement. It's very fun to say in a classroom. Rome falls and Europe plunges into darkness. It's dramatic and it's generalization. But what I mean is that society collapses. So what we see is a lot of violence, a lot of instability.
Oh.
Rome was so vast, and most of Europe was protected by Roman armies. So when Rome falls, roads are no longer protected, trade routes are no longer protected, roads are no longer maintained. That's big.
Wow.
That's big.
Well, yeah, they're all on these horse-drawn carriages.
Yeah, exactly.
All of a sudden, you can't go by on one of those rickety wagons.
Yes, and
you gotta turn around.
You got to turn around.
You got to turn around.
You're stuck.
And everyone's trying to take over. right? Everyone's trying to take over. So, and you're being invaded also, like, not only are you trying to take over, but like just villages are being raided a lot. You have, well, I'll get to you in a second.
Okay.
You have people coming in from the north, and we know that they are called
The Celts?
Vikings.
Vikings.
And then, yes, you have
gosh.
people coming in from the east. Those are called Magyars. That's Magyars. I could be pronouncing it
from
wrong.
the south is Vikings.
No, from the north. Is
I was about to be
Vikings.
like, really?
Coming from the south, you have groups coming up from North Africa.
Are they the
Wow.
Sea Peoples?
I've never heard that before. What is that?
That's like this group of people no one knows, but they were on boats and they just like destroyed.
This group of people that like no one has any.
I've never heard that. What is that? It's a group of people no one knows.
But they like came in and like killed a bunch of people around this time, I think. Right
Wow.
in.
Well, a
The Sea
lot
Peoples.
of people are being killed.
Yeah.
Okay, now what was your question?
Well, I was trying. When you talk about how like the fall of Rome caused this like kind of dark ages and stuff, I was trying to like geographically think about that because geography is not my strong suit. So
Yes.
you have like Europe up here. So when you start talking about the Vikings coming from the north,
Scandinavia area.
area. So like Rome is Italy over here. So like
Rome is vast. People started falling apart. Okay. 476, Rome falls, Europe plunges into darkness, roads are no longer safe, the army's not protecting you. Guess what else goes down?
Rape?
Yeah,
Agriculture.
of course. That doesn't go down, that goes up. What goes down is literacy rates. Education
Whoa.
declines.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by darkness. It's a darkness of the
but at
mental
the same
darkness,
time,
education
China
darkness.
and all these other places are like flourishing and doing very well.
Not all these other places. Like I said, a lot of different
places.
things are happening.
Yeah.
But what we don't want is we don't want to think everything is happening around the world in the same way. That's the thing I want you to take away from this. There's a lot of different countries having different experiences. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And the thing, yeah.
Oh, they were taking bricks from the Colosseum and using it to like start fires and stuff, right?
Okay.
Bricks.
Yeah, or like stones.
Wow.
They were starting fires with stones?
They would use it to like make a stone pit.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
I'm
you're
sorry,
saying they were
interrupted.
dismantling the
they were
city.
dismantling
Is that what you're
the
saying?
city,
Yes.
and using it for things. Okay.
I believe it.
And
Yeah.
what must it be like to be like, say you're like 2 or 3 generations out and to look at this Colosseum and to think, oh, there was another generation before me that did a lot better. Rape
The
is
thing
up.
that's interesting about this period, Amber Nelson, is that we, as historians and scholars, get to see what happens to a society when the government collapses. Because ultimately, when governments collapse, usually it's because they have been taken over by another government. But in the case of the fall of Rome, no one officially takes over this land that falls apart. There's no longer a central government. And what we see happens is 2 things that I want both of you to remember.
You're so impassioned.
One is that humans create a strict social hierarchy in order to protect themselves. Everyone has a role and a place to fill. Things get very locked
Serfs.
in, and that's called
Wenches.
feudalism.
Yes.
The other thing that happens is they get super religious.
Oh, looking for meaning in something.
Looking for something.
Do you think that comes from the top down, this feeling of like, we need to give these people some rules, like something to
do so they're not piddling.
There's no top down for it to come from. I'm saying the government collapses.
Oh, okay. So it's not like there's kings that are like, we are Catholic.
Sort of. Their kings kind of pop up. I mean, you get like the Franks,
wow.
and then you get like Normans, and there's different groups, and there's Charles the Great, there's different people who come and rule territories. But it's not like in the same way that you have like the structure of the Roman Empire, which was a government where there was taxes and there was rolls and there was bureaucracy. Yes.
Yeah.
How does it collapse? Does this guy just say like, I'm done?
Well, it was a lot of different reasons. I'd say your 3 main reasons.
This map
that's
is crazy.
Huge. That's
this
how
is
big
huge.
it is.
Literally, the Roman Empire looks like it pretty much just controlled
Show it to Amber.
all of Europe.
Show that to Amber.
That's crazy.
That's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
and that's one of the main reasons it collapses. It's hard to control that much territory when you don't have a phone.
Yeah, good point.
You know,
Good
like
point.
it's really difficult.
Someone's carrying a message. It takes them
Takes
months
them
to get there.
forever. And then you have there was a lot of issues with how power was passed down. It wasn't traditionally done where it's like the king at son, da 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 da. There was generals challenging, and there's too big. Armies couldn't be controlled. Messages took too long to get to the front lines, and the transfer of power was not always peaceful. And those are the main reasons that Rome declines. And then 476, like I said, this group of sort of like German warfare people come in and they overthrow the capital. And that's why historians mark 476 as the fall of Rome, because that's when the actual capital was taken. Again, Eastern Rome goes on a lot longer over there in the East, but we don't really talk about that. We're going to focus right on this European part, okay?
Okay.
So everything falls apart.
feudalism.
Everything falls
Feudalism's-
apart. And what comes out of that is feudalism.
And this is like Cinderella.
You know, and what do you mean by that?
I mean, like Cinderella is like, you know, she's kind of a peasant and she lives in the world of like, there are people who, you know, you have to kind of try and marry your way up or
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because you're not going to really have a peasant marry their way up. You're kind of born into who you are.
Oh, okay.
So like your whole destiny is based on, you know,
I'm such an idiot.
where you were born.
not.
No.
This is like Cinderella.
No.
No, it's more like Snow White.
We got dwarves. We're living in the woods. It's a dark time.
No, you're not an idiot. That's the romanticization of the Middle Ages. So that's where King Arthur, you know, we talk about Camelot and stuff. And that is like, those are the romanticizations of this time period. For sure. So yeah, you have castles and princes and knights. I mean, the whole thing, knights come from this feudalism, feudalism. But the knights are sort of romantic. Chivalry is romantic. Like there's a reason why we have continued to talk about these characters. They have a lasting legacy, especially the idea of chivalry and especially the idea of knighthood. Now, you know, it's a pretty awful time to be a woman.
Yeah, I was just thinking like, oh, it'd be cool to be a knight, but then also like it's just a horrible time for a woman.
It's a horrible time to be a woman. And
Also, like maybe just a human, right? Like medicine. What was medicine?
Not good.
I always, whenever I think about these times, I can't help but think about how stinky it probably was.
Yeah.
And everyone's just getting disease, you know? Like babies be dying all the time.
Babies be dying.
Kids be dying. People be dying.
Really, women be dying in childbirth.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. So when you think about the Middle Ages, think about a society that has collapsed and people trying to figure their way out of it. And what they create is feudalism, a land-based system of loyalty to protect themselves. So you pledge loyalty to a lord and you live within his manor. Okay. And then you have your lord, you have your knights, you have your artisans like your blacksmiths, you have your peasants, and then you have your serfs. It's very, very, very structured and strict.
And it's kind of like God deemed you to be born a serf, so there you are.
Yeah, and Christianity is a huge part of all of this. Christianity becomes such a huge part of life during this time period. It's phenomenal. It's fascinating. Sometimes you would pray before you cooked, you know, pray many times a day, pray over an egg before you broke it. You know, Christianity was a huge part of this time period.
And it's before Martin Luther, so you had to pay. Right?
Yeah. Well,
pay to pray?
Martin Luther is a great character of history to bring up.
Pray. What do they call those, right? Wasn't there like a name for that?
Yeah.
Where it was like
there is.
Protestants?
No. Well, you're talking about the Protestant Reformation when Martin Luther
Right,
started when he nailed his 95 Thesis on the door of the church in Wittenberg.
It's somewhere in Germany.
It's in Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. He started the Protestant Reformation. And he said indulgences
that's
are a
what it was.
sin. He said
Yeah.
the Catholic Church should not be allowed to sell indulgences. And indulgences were this thing where you could, like, if you were rich, you could buy less time for your sin.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you couldn't like murder someone and like buy God's forgiveness, but you could, like, instead of having to do a bunch of Hail Marys over something, you could buy it.
What does it cost to do some Hail Marys?
Yeah, might as well just do them for
Like
free.
$5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like before then? Like early Christianity? Was it the same we practice today? Were there like mega preachers and stuff?
That's a good question. I don't think there were mega preachers, unless you want to say the Pope is a mega preacher.
Probably.
Yeah. So the Pope, I mean, Christianity started Chris, go ahead. What are you looking at?
I'm looking up the first pope.
The first pope. Look up the first pope. I wonder if the first Holy Roman Emperor was Constantine.
Like the thing that is, it's just, when you talk about like the romanticization.
Yeah.
Is that
It's a hard word.
word?
It is a hard word.
Romanticization.
The romanticization.
I think a lot of the knights and ladies that we see in the paintings, that was done in the Renaissance.
Oh, okay.
And they were romanticizing that. But like at the time, because like
so we're like, this is before the Renaissance.
I say,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're like way before the Renaissance.
Yeah. Okay. You want to do a whole, okay. Yes. And I would say there's really nothing to romanticize about the Middle Ages. In my personal opinion, it's a pretty awful time.
Right. See, like this is a medieval drawing. That like it was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
blocky and like
Yeah.
babies looked like adults.
Okay.
It's weird. You ever seen a drawing of medieval babies? Like, who's that man? Who's that man doing that?
That man with a very tiny little penis.
Yeah. Okay. So you get feudalism, which is what this is all based off of. These ideas of knights and stuff. And I feel like both of you want to talk about knights, which is why I was thinking about feudalism. And then you get from this. Eventually, we start getting towns again because things. I mean, not towns. We start getting cities eventually because things get stabilized. Things get more and more stabilized. We enter a period called the High Middle Ages, which happens around 1000 A.D. A big moment in our history as English speakers is 1066 when William the Conqueror, who is a Norman, he invades Britain and takes over and which is Normans are like modern day French, takes over Britain and then establishes a line of Norman kings, which directly affect our language because Britons at the time spoke English, which was like a Germanic language, and then when William the Conqueror comes in, he changes the language to French. What? He changes the official language to French. How dare he? I mean, that wouldn't affect us as peasants. It doesn't matter, but it affects like, the government and the courts and the art. And so that's why English now has like a lot of German words for like very sort of everyday things like,
Apple is Apfel.
Yeah, hammer, stuff like that. And then for art, philosophy, and government, it's a lot of our words derived from French words.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, and so modern day English is sort of this really beautiful blend of those two languages.
So like is nihilism, that's a philosophy, is that like derived from French?
I would look that up because nihilism, I think, nihilism is, as far as I'm concerned, a very sort of modern philosophical thought. Like nihilism wasn't really developed until like when? The 18th century. And so we're talking about way before that. Nihilism is like there's no point life.
Oh, you're so nihilistic.
Hate nihilism.
Yeah,
I hate it. I'm nihilistic.
Like kind of indifferent to everything?
It's the only person I know who's nihilist, and I won't say it on air, but you guys know who he is, and he's just rich his whole life. I'm like, yeah, nothing matters. Your dad buys you everything. French philosophical words.
Yeah, and art, things like that come from are derived from French, modern English.
All right.
So
absurd. That's French.
There you go. So okay. So then we enter the High Middle Ages, right?
And now we're in the thousands.
We start getting cities again.
Okay.
And we start getting cities again because feudalism has worked. To some degree, we get life. We're able to live again. Things have become safer. Everything is a little bit more stabilized, and we're able to do the most important thing for growth, which is, as we all know, trade. Trade. Throughout all of human history,
it's like social
is
contracts
so
kind of are paying off.
Yeah.
Of like, this is how like you're now you mean trade like from country to country?
I mean, yeah, and even country to country, but even like village to village, we get trade. Things are moving again.
Ooh.
You get places like Florence, and Venice. You get merchants now and things happening, and like
cinnamon, spices.
Yeah, and that's coming from the Silk Roads. Those trade routes. Which are, that's a very interesting, it's fascinating. Trade routes are fascinating because not only do they spread goods, but they spread ideas and they spread
language.
Yes, and starts with a D.
Disease?
Yes. Give her a round of applause. Folks. Give her a round of applause.
That's so funny.
Yes. So I'm gonna take us straight to the Renaissance. Is that cool?
Sure.
If I just keep going?
Yeah.
Okay. So we've got our medieval cities. We've got trade coming. Then we have a really big thing that happens in the 14th century, so 13-ish. What do you think it is, Amber?
The Reformation of religion?
No.
1300s.
No, this is really big, and it knocks out a third to a half. The plague.
Plague on both your houses.
Plague.
Yeah.
And we know that is called the Black Plague, bubonic plague.
People spitting up black stuff.
Yes.
Cool.
And that is around the mid 1300s. So somewhere in the 14th century. Some people like to pin it on this specific date. I think it's 1356 that a boat of sailors came into Venice or something like that. I'm getting my date wrong, but we don't really know how it happened. But we do know that like a third to a half of the European population died.
Oh, gosh.
And not only...
That's a lot.
That's a lot. That's like 2 of us in this room.
It's like 2 of us in this room. And not only do they die, but it's like a violent, grotesque death. You get these big, bruisey, like splotches on your skin, and you vomit, and you have a fever, and it's a third to a half of the people around you are having these violent, quick deaths. And so we get a couple of things that come out of that shape. Is this boring?
No.
Okay.
No.
A couple of things that come out of that are really big. Okay. Amber, you're going to answer this question.
Oh.
A third to a half of the population dies. What do you think that means for the working class?
They get to stand up and say, I want more rights.
Yeah! Ding, 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 ding.
Hey, workers' rights.
Ding, ding, ding.
Okay.
All of a sudden, they're like, hey, wait a minute. You, need us. And, we want better living conditions. And, we want
we gotta
more.
stop dying from this black stuff.
Yeah. There's not enough of us for you to just, treat us unfairly. So that happens. And then another thing that happens, a lot of weird religious stuff happens during the Black Plague. Some people get, super religious, but some people are like, oh, I don't think there's a God.
If God existed, you wouldn't want this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Something ain't right. I have seen things I could never possibly imagine, and a God wouldn't do that. So there's questionings of the church is happening, and then a lot of the workforce is gone, and feudalism can't really be sustained with the Black Plague. So it's kind of, imagine the Black Plague as kind of like a forest fire that is going through and destroying old systems and making way for new.
Ooh.
Okay, so that happens. That's one thing that happens.
Okay.
The second thing that happens that's really big is that the Byzantine Empire falls.
So they're catching up now.
They're catching up, girl.
Wow.
Okay, Ottoman Empire invades. Byzantine Empire falls. And what happens when the Byzantine Empire falls is that a bunch of scholars kind of flee, and they come west, and they're like, hey, here, do you remember ancient Roman thought and ancient Greek thought? And all these people
Philosophy
are like, what?
and reading?
Yes. And so they kind of bring back listeners at home, this is very generalization and it's much more nuanced than this, so forgive me, but I'm trying to give a big overview of the history of the world, okay? So they come in, they bring back all this knowledge that has, for the most part, been forgotten, It's not that education disappears during the Middle Ages, but it's severely limited. Literacy rates decline, and you don't really need to read or write for jobs anymore because you are working the land. You most likely live on a feudal manor, and you're most likely a farmer. You're most likely plowing some shit with an ox. You know what I mean? So, and the church really takes in, the church maintains literacy because that's where you have your books, and you have, and your monasteries, you get a lot of education happening there. But for the most part, it really declines significantly. So, so Byzantine falls, these scholars come, that's happening. And then the Black Plague kind of made way for a lot of things. And then the other thing that's happening is we have these families that are becoming very rich from trade. Have you ever heard of the Medicis?
I almost said
Yes.
the Medicis.
Oh my God, The Medicis. What a fun name.
What a fun name.
The
And they
Medicis.
funded artists. And so
Yes.
art started to bloom.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
So the Medicis, you get these rich merchant families in Italy specifically who come around and they're like, you know what? We have a lot of money. And I just met this guy, Michelangelo, and I think he's pretty great. And I'm going to fund him to paint the Sistine Chapel.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And so you get patrons, they're called patrons, who are funding artists to make art. There's this revival of Greek and Roman thought, specifically ancient Greek and ancient Roman thought. And then there is, of course, my favorite thing, the invention of the Gutenberg printing press,
Nice.
which changes the world as we know it.
Wow.
There we go. And then anybody can write a book. And now we have J.D. Vance's book.
And that was the sliding doors moment that brought us J.D. Vance's book.
It does take a long time to get to anybody can write a book, but it does make books much more accessible. The first thing, of course, that's printed is the Gutenberg Bible, which I'm sure we've all heard of. But you mentioned Martin Luther earlier, and something that happened with Martin Luther is that when he, posted his thesis, his 95 thesis on the door, he got condemned by the church right away. He had to flee into seclusion. He was on the run. He was an outlaw of the church, and one could argue that if that had happened 100 years prior, he would have just disappeared. But because of the Gutenberg printing press, people were able to print out his ideas, and now they're being passed out. And now other people are reading them and going, he's right. I don't think the Catholic Church should have all this power.
Yeah.
Oh, there probably was somebody
love
100 years
that.
ago, but they killed him.
Who
And then
knows?
died.
Who knows?
But also, like, how would anybody really know what that guy looked like? Like, couldn't he just go to another town
Right,
and change
they
his
don't
name?
know.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
Like, it's not like if they really just like invented the print, like kind of
Yeah.
the printing press. It's
Right.
not like they're
Well,
printing
travel's
his
not that
face.
easy. Like, you can't
Yeah.
just he was kept by aristocratic families, and kind of helped to be on the run, because a lot of rich families were like, we do want to challenge the church. You know what? They're a little too powerful.
Yeah.
They're taking my money.
They're taking my money, and they're taking
money.
my people
My
who are
serfs'
under
money.
me's
Yeah,
money.
yeah.
Right.
And it would be very difficult to be on the run and just show up in a town.
Yeah, there's no hotels.
Yeah,
Like
Yeah.
you're just on a path, and then there's robbers in the woods.
Yeah. I mean, you could stay at a mission. Like, missions are famous for putting up people during this time, but those are churches.
Yeah.
And they know what you look like. If you're Martin Luther, they know what you look like, most likely. But you have these sort of certificates that say who you are. You have IDs of
Yeah.
declaration.
Really?
Yeah.
So they had birth certificates back then.
It's not a birth certificate per se, but it is kind of like it's your papers.
scroll.
It's like, this is who I am, and it's embossed with a king's or a lord's, symbol, and it's official. And I'm sure people could fake them, but
Do you
I
think
it's
other
also
people
hard.
started putting their ideas, like printing their ideas and posting them on things?
Yeah.
It's like, I got some ideas too. I want some free chicken eggs.
And then, so we have the Renaissance, that brings in the Renaissance. Then we have the scientific revolution, where, of course, Copernicus says, I don't think the Earth is the center of the universe. I think the sun might be. And people are like, what? And then Galileo's like, yeah, he's right. I just made this new telescope, and it shows that Jupiter has these moons that are rotating it. And they're like,
Kill him!
yeah.
And then there was Nostradamus, and not to sound like a bummer, but Nostradamus says that we will learn how to speak to animals, and they will followed by a great period of suffering. And I was on TikTok, and I saw a video of one of those dogs that press the buttons. That's like, Mommy, you need to go out. And I was like, we're in a great
hungry.
period. Yeah.
Pet me.
Pet me. Call Mommy.
Call mommy.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah.
think that these TikTok videos of people teaching their dogs how to communicate is going to lead us into
Great period of suffering.
great period of suffering? So Bunny the dog, who's learning how to communicate
Fuck
with
that dog.
Fuck you, Bunny. Damn.
And scientific revolution, the Protestant Reformation, a lot of things are happening during this time, which brings us to the age of exploration, which is when people start getting into ships and they start colonizing the rest of the world. And then we can follow that trajectory right up into modern day. So there we did. We went from the fall of Rome
Wow.
to the age of exploration.
It's almost like it took a long time to get going, and then once it got going, it was rolling.
And then it started
Yeah.
cooking.
Because it was like 1,000 years there of just what's going on, guys?
Yeah.
What are we
Right.
going to do?
476 to
Well, I imagine,
1,000 is very difficult. Those 500 years are difficult.
I imagine when your world feels very small and you're like, look, I got to just plow this field so I can feed myself and my family.
Yeah.
Right.
Once your world starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, then you're like, wait, I want more for myself,
Yeah.
The one thing that when you were talking about trade reminded me of when we were talking about mythical creatures, and there was the one with the crazy long neck thing that you brought, and then you brought it up as this was the first time somebody saw a giraffe.
Right.
You know,
How do you describe it?
Yeah. So it's like the first time you feel silk, you know, like,
You're like, what is this?
Yeah.
Yeah. And really it's like the spread of ideas is based on reading and writing. Like, I mean, we can do word of mouth as well, but like books and ideas
Right.
travel. So the Gutenberg printing press is huge. It's a huge part of our human story.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like let's do a thought experiment. So like we're in Rome, we're chilling, we're
There
like,
we
oh,
are.
this sucks. I don't have any bread, the wine's out. Oh, what's that fire over there? Oh my God, they're attacking. We all gotta run, ladies. We gotta go. So now we're in the woods and we're like, what the fuck? That's burning. What do we do? And then we just kind of keep running.
You know, it's interesting that you bring this up. Okay. Because I did write out a little thought experiment.
Okay.
love
It's
this.
not really necessarily the fall of Rome, though. But you're saying, what do we do? So most likely, if we are be talking about statistics, most likely we live in like a far territory, and that is kind of run by like a mayor type guy who like answers back to Rome. So he will try and protect us, and hopefully some army people stay. But you know what? They're probably getting called to go try and establish their leader as the new king. You know, there's a
Right.
lot of fighting for power. But it does, and we do have to create a system of protection.
Yeah, because I wonder if you're one of those small, far cities, is it even worse to be in the city because you're kind of at a point of interest?
Right. Like you're getting
go.
someone's laying siege on you.
Right.
Okay, you ready?
This is your thought exercise?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so imagine you're a traveling merchant. So this is going to be during the High Middle Ages when travel is more safe.
Okay, I've got cinnamon.
Yeah.
Bundle
Okay.
of it.
You're riding on horseback through the English countryside. This is around
I got it.
like, let's say 1100, 1200 CE. The road beneath you is little more than a muddy track. Your horse's hooves, let's hear it, squelch through ruts left by carts in recent rain. The air smells of damp earth, wood smoke, and livestock. Ahead, on a low hill, you spot a manor. The first thing you notice is not a castle. Most medieval manors did not have the giant stone castles seen in movies. Those were more for kings. Instead, you see a cluster of buildings surrounded by fields. A wooden fence or stone wall marks the boundary of the Lord's land. Rising above everything else is the manor house, larger than the surrounding buildings. As you ride closer, the sounds of daily life grow louder.
Chickens over here.
You hear sheep bleating, pigs grunt, chickens scatter. A blacksmith hammers rings against metal. Dogs bark. The smell is powerful.
Stinky.
Wood smoke drifts from dozens of cooking fires. You smell fresh baked bread.
Ooh,
But you also smell manure
Ugh.
and the unpleasant smells of the people who live there. Before reaching the manor itself, you pass through the fields, okay? All around you are strips of farmland worked by peasants. Men guide oxen, pulling heavy plows. Women gather vegetables from gardens. Children chase geese. Most peasants live in small one-room cottages made of wood, wattle, and daub. The roofs are thatched with straw.
Ooh.
And smoke seeps from holes in the roof because most of these people don't have chimneys. Oh.
Get yourself a chimney, girl.
Most homes, if you're a peasant, are one room. The whole family sleeps in there.
So you'd have sex in front of your kids.
Yeah. Guess who else sleeps there?
Dogs
your
and
parents?
cats.
Your livestock in the winter.
Like your parents?
Yeah, the whole freaking family. Yes.
Oh, wow.
Okay, everybody stops to watch you pass. What are they saying?
Oh, who's that beautiful woman?
Hey, what is it?
Oh, wow.
It
what a-
looks like she showered recently. She smells real clean.
You hear a church bell.
Ding,
The church is one of the largest buildings ahead of you, and most peasants, that's the largest building most peasants will ever enter. Okay, and you know because you're a part of this world that religion shapes your whole life. Okay, now you're passing blacksmiths. You're passing. So this is at the manor. You had all these people doing the artisan work around you, right? And then, do we want to get into the castle?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Let's get in
Continuing
there.
onward, you approach the Lord's residence. It's if the region is peaceful. Do we want it to be a peaceful region, or do we want it to be dangerous?
Well, a little excitement, and
Maybe
a little
one
adventure.
guy. One
One guy's a little seedy. Oh, look, there's seedy Jeff over there.
Seedy Jeff, don't let him around your kids.
Okay, so if it's peaceful, okay, we have a large manor house and it's just kind of surrounded by gardens. Okay, if we are worried about what's his name?
Seedy Jeff.
Seedy Jeff.
Seedy Jeff.
Okay, so let's say we're kind of living in a dangerous world.
Okay.
Okay, so we do have defensive walls.
Are we wearing a very large cloak?
Yeah, let's wear a cloak.
We're wearing a very large cloak.
Right, with a hood.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think we got a moat too, because that's how worried we are about Seedy Jeff. We got a moat, and we have walls, and there are armed guards. Okay,
Aha.
they're at the entrance, and these are the Lord's soldiers. And maybe let's say like one of them are also a knight. You know, some are knights, some are just regular soldiers, and they have like.
I'm attracted to them.
Okay,
Let's go ahead and do a thought experiment.
Like I am attracted to these soldiers.
I will say you're not a woman because you wouldn't be traveling alone.
No.
Yeah.
Come
I'm sorry.
on.
Okay. You're a
But I got my
woman. You're a
big
woman.
cloak.
You're a
I got my
woman.
big
You're a
cloak
woman.
on.
It's
Oh,
too
no.
dangerous, I guess.
You
You're
can be a
right.
woman. You can be a
Fine.
woman.
I'm the man.
You're a man. No, be a
I'm the
woman.
man.
You're a woman.
I'm like Brienne of Tarth.
Okay.
A very large woman, scary woman.
Okay, so you get in, they let you through, right? And you see like the little squires, you know, those are the kids training to be knights.
Adorbs.
Oh, with, like, little wooden swords.
Little wooden
Yeah,
swords.
yeah,
Little wooden
yeah.
swords. Yes.
I killed you.
Yeah. And now it is so this is just a striking difference than the village area you just left. So like around the wall. You left that and you are now everything smells like there's richer food.
Yeah,
you know, things look
roasted
better.
chicken.
Yeah.
Chicken
stuff like
leg,
that.
Yeah.
Okay, in the manor house, the things you also the smells in the manor are also like like you said, roasted chicken, but also like beeswax candles. Like if you're a
Ooh.
peasant, your candles are probably made out of like
Fat lard.
yeah, and they stink. Tallow.
Good for your skin.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah, you guys never heard about the tallow fat?
Oh, yeah, that was a big
That was a
craze.
trend for a while. People were just putting
Fat on their
fat
face.
on their faces.
Oh my God,
Good
are
for
they
them.
still doing that?
Probably.
Wow.
I put nut oil on my face. That's a
Yeah.
fat, but it's
Yeah.
vegan fat.
Yeah.
I did olive oil.
Yeah.
And that's a nut. Or olives nuts? No.
No.
But
No, are they fruits?
they're fruits. They got to be because the seed's in the center,
Yeah.
inside. What the fuck? I can't believe I asked if
Olives.
olives a nut. But like
Snow White.
Here.
But like
Trying to figure out where Cinderella is in this.
are cashews
story.
nuts?
Yeah.
Yeah, cashews are nuts.
No, olives are not nuts.
They're like beans, aren't they?
Seeds.
Seeds.
Wait, are olives fruit? I'm having dementia. Yes, olives are technically a fruit.
Yeah, because they're off trees. You pull them off trees.
Yeah.
Will you look at see if cashew is a nut?
It's a nut.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
cashew
definitely
nut. It's in
sold.
the name.
Yeah, it is in the name. I don't know why it just doesn't feel like a nut to me, but it could be a nut.
Cashew is a common name of a tropical evergreen tree.
Okay.
Let me put
A nut.
Cashews are not true botanical nuts.
Ah, ding, 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 ding.
They are classified as seeds.
Wow.
You're gonna be my phone a friend. If I'm ever like
On
doing a thing,
I
phone a
just-
friend.
I
Yeah.
just asked if olives are nuts.
Yeah, but you knew. You knew. You were just asking.
Oh my God. Okay.
All right, so now we're in the We're in the space. We're behind the moat.
You're behind. You're in the manor.
We're in the manor.
You're in the manor house. It smells good.
They have a fireplace there, probably, right?
Yeah, big
Yes.
fire.
big
Well,
old
now we're gonna enter the
good
great
smelling
hall. There's gonna be
beeswax.
a great fire in the great hall. I mean, it doesn't all smell good. Like things still stink, you know,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
human excrement
Flies.
is not getting
Yeah,
flushed.
they don't have hoses.
No.
Right, they just throw it outside.
Right.
Pretty gross. And then the moat, you know, it's
Yeah.
pretty nasty. You know what? I have been talking so long.
I'm
and we
in
have to get.
trance. I'm in
Okay.
trance.
I want to
Yeah.
hear y'all's thing.
Nah, girl, we're on this. We're
Okay.
doing-
Okay. At the far end of the hall sits the Lord and Lady of the Manor. What do they look like, Amber?
Ooh, he's got a big beard and a
Yeah, he
crown.
does.
And they're wearing these robes that are red with like the little Dalmatian spot thingies on them underneath. And she has gray hair and a braid.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he talks like, I would like my beeswax candles to be redone the wrong color.
Okay, so the Lord of the Manor, he's managing, he's like kind of your judge. He's your landlord. So he manages disputes, you know.
Is he actually good at it?
it depends on who you get. It's the luck of the draw.
Yeah.
It's the luck of the draw.
Right.
So it's like, let's say, so right now, let's say he's settling a dispute between two peasants who are arguing. Okay, so that's what he's doing.
Judge
Oh,
Judy.
and they're just like, my wife won't fuck me. And they're just like, come on.
No, it's more like, he stole my pig. That was always my pig.
Oh,
You
right.
know?
And they have to be like,
how to raise pigs.
Yeah.
cut the pig in half and whoever
Whoever gets it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the lady she sort of is like the house manager. She oversees the education of the children. So let's say she's like giving directions to a servant, telling them what they need to do. Okay, so that's this is what's going on here. And then so the peasants, they wear kind of dull colors. We know that. And the lord and ladies, just like Amber said, there's just these fine, rich fabrics, rich reds, blues, greens, fur. They have gems. They have jewelry,
wow.
Okay, so from here, they see much of the manor life. They, like I say, they oversee. It's kind of like he manages the manor and she manages the house, And he's collecting rent. Did I say that? He's
collect rent?
From her?
Yeah, you have to pay. No, from the peasants, you have to pay a tithe.
What?
You have to pay. You have to pay
kind
a
of live
tax.
under his protection, I guess.
Yeah, the Lord can call upon a tax.
Oh, and has taxes
Just
ever
out
been
of nowhere. Just
out of
like,
nowhere?
we need,
Yeah.
we need new stuff for the house. So everybody's got to chip in a little bit.
Right. There's kind of like three main taxes. There's one that's yearly, there's one that can be out of nowhere, and there's one if your daughter gets married, you have to pay him money.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What?
Yeah.
Gosh darn.
When was tax created?
Ooh, good question.
When was it? Let's see, 5,000 years.
Wow.
Wow, in ancient Egypt. Did we pay taxes before 1913? Yes.
This is just like one of those regular questions. So it's like, before 1930, have we always been paying taxes?
yeah. Is this
God,
bullshit?
so crazy.
So
My thing is,
Yeah,
the thing,
let's hear it.
it's
What's
just-
your thing?
Well, okay. I was wondering, talking to Ed about this, like when did like humor start? Like I knew we had there were probably jesters, like people who, were entertainers, storytellers, whatever. But like just like the regular person, like a sense of humor or sarcasm, like.
Because I know in like classic Greek plays, it was a humorous play if the hero didn't die. But like, when was the first joke written?
But there was Leah Bonham reshared some meme or something recently that was like back in the medieval times, like would somebody say something awkward at the well and then go home and be like, was I weird? Was it me? Did I say something weird?
Probably. I would imagine humans are still humans. We have a different language for things, but we've still felt love and embarrassment and joy and pain.
Or was everybody just like afraid to make jokes because someone could like kill you?
There's this guy, this French philosopher, and he wrote an essay. His name is like Henri Bergson or something like that.
Nice.
And he wrote a essay called Laughter. And this is in like 1900.
Oh, cool.
And he puts forth this idea, I'll get it out, that we laugh when someone makes a tiny social mistake, like what I just did, like where I misspoke and you laughed, because it's not that you're not going to chide me like, hey, speak right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you suck.
But we also want to acknowledge that I'm like kind of failing my human duty in that moment. So it's kind of like we laugh when someone stumbles and falls but isn't hurt. But if someone falls and they gets hurt, so it's kind of like
hilarious.
It's it's the funniest thing you've seen all year. Okay?
Yeah, we can see his bone. Never seen one of those before. That's crazy.
So it's this idea that we train each other to stay within certain behavioral expectations with laughter. So laughter is kind of like a chiding. You messed up a little bit, and I'm kind of laughing at it a little bit. So it's kind of like this sort of group think mentality for getting us all on the same page behaviorally.
I love that.
It's really interesting.
That's
I
really
think the essay is called Laughter. Is that what you're looking at?
Laughter?
Henri Bergson?
Interesting. I'm looking at when did humans laugh? And when did humans start laughing?
What does Google say it?
What does Google say? 10
When did
to
people-
16 million years ago.
Yeah.
16 million.
Because we have to develop
the
some form of
Egyptians were I'm sure they were
communication.
laughing at
Yeah.
something.
They were laughing. Look at that
like,
child slave.
Oh,
Sorry, I'm just kidding.
poor child.
poor child.
There's this. I remember remember I had this English professor in college who was talking about the Odyssey. We were like reading, we were doing like a detailed reading of the Odyssey. And
Very excited about the movie.
Oh, yeah. Me
A
too.
lot of hunks in that one.
A lot of hunks.
A lot of hunks. And there's this part where these like two armed guards are like talking to each other. And my professor was like, that is a joke. What is happening here? Like linguists know and historians know that this is a joke, but we don't get it because we lack the social context. We lack the social explanation to know what the joke is about. But we know that that is based on like the writing style and the way that's being depicted, that is supposed to be a joke. And if you were from that time period, you would get it and laugh.
Wow.
But we don't have the social context to understand it.
Whoa.
Isn't that interesting?
Okay, so 2 summers ago, a friend of mine was teaching in Spain, and I went to hang out with her for like 2 weeks. And I was like, I want to just, you'll be there for a whole month. Like, let's just do something. And she was like, let's go to a comedy show. So we went to a stand-up comedy show in a cafe. It was like not even in like a comedy, a theater or anything. And I sat in the very far back corner. It was all in Spanish. And it was the most insane experience to be sitting there trying to decipher what he's saying, what the comedian is saying. And then the entire room erupts in laughter. Wow. And it's just such a crazy. And then my friend would lead over and be like, he's recanting a date that he went on. And you're just like, oh, okay. Okay, great. Like,
so
still
cool.
no clue.
Were you able to tell based on body language and voice changes?
Oh,
and
for sure.
This
That like,
is
and
the
this is the
punchline.
punchline,
Yeah.
like, and then he would like ruse some people in the crowd, and then I could kind of like pick up like, okay, what about this person could he be making fun of,
Yeah.
Like, but it was like, yeah, it was fascinating. Honestly, my brain, I was so tired by the end of it because my body wanted to laugh when everyone else was laughing because it would look so weird to just be stone-faced. Everyone around you was like cackling, but yeah, it was fast. It was a fascinating experience. Yeah.
Wow.
Interesting.
But it's that thing of like the context of like I don't have the
You don't
language.
have the context. Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah,
You're like,
I know
that's a
they're
joke.
laughing about something,
but I
yeah.
don't know what to laugh at. I don't
Yeah.
have the reference points. I think everything we've developed as humans has been for our survival. So it's like what can keep us together and keep us getting along. And so I assume laughter is a part of that.
Yeah. Like a social contract.
Yeah.
It's like we're bonding.
We're
over
bonding.
this.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Love it.
Yeah.
Looks like we got like, let's say like 10 minutes left.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
No, I love it. I love
it. To assume you would talk about this for 10, 20 minutes and then we'd move on is crazy. There's so much to it.
If anything, I'm just kind of like looking at my stuff. I'm like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
notes are bullshit.
Should we do another episode?
Yeah, we'll do a part two. Part 3
Medieval
even.
part 2. Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it.
I'm just niches.
Nerding out.
Yeah.
I love
Nerding out.
it.
Because
Yeah.
mine was athletics and people did work out.
No,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. And like the nights workout.
I mean, you'd have
yeah,
to, right?
to hold all that armor too.
Oh
It's so
my
heavy.
gosh.
we practice in full armor. And like I know I'll do
Crazy.
it next
Yeah.
time, but there was this famous knight, I forget his name, I'll look it up. But he would like scale up and down a building like this with his hands.
Oh, there he goes. Seedy Jeff again.
Wow.
There he is, that CD
Climbing buildings.
I thought we built a moat to keep him out.
Right. And so you're doing food.
No, I'm doing, when I said I'm going to research medieval times dinner theater, I meant the medieval times dinner theater that exists in the United States.
Oh, but that's hilarious,
That's
though.
so
Yeah.
good.
I like that.
Because it's based off of the owner's like history within medieval times.
I
Wow.
love that.
I love that
Yeah.
too.
And
Yeah.
you gave a broad, like, I love the history lesson. Do you want to do anything niche? Like,
Yeah, I'll think about what I'm going to do. I'll think about
Okay,
what I'm going
fun.
to do. And then I'm sure I got a lot wrong. I have been out of the classroom for a few weeks. So I'll have to really think about what I got wrong. But
What would you be? What would you want to be
a
in the medieval
merchant.
time? A
I
merchant?
want to sell stuff.
You want to sell stuff.
And I want
yeah.
to travel. I know it's not safe as a woman, but I've put on a fake beard.
I want to be a man.
Yeah,
I think
oh,
that's what I want to be. I want to be a
1000%
man.
wanna be a man.
Yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
be a man.
yeah, I don't want to be a king because someone's always kind of sneaking up trying to,
Yeah.
slice that throat. But I think being a lord
Could
of
be
a
fun to be a
peaceful
doctor
land-
at the time.
Oh wow! You're just like,
Let's see.
a doctor
how
at
this
that
goes.
time. Yeah, you're like, I got some herbs, and we'll see what we can do.
Like you're like the witch doctor, like
Yeah.
you're the
Witch.
herbalist. You're the
Yeah.
one that people come to like put the herbs and the tea together, and
I
you're
think
like,
it was illegal to like not surgery.
Is that like considered witchcraft? Oh no,
Or, like,
surgery.
Not surgery illegal, but like illegal to like practice on a dead body.
Yeah.
And like look in what they had. So people would have to go dig up dead bodies illegally and then be like, oh, there's the tits. There's the stomach.
Oh, we didn't know what these were.
Interesting.
These are tits.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that's what they were.
Crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're a doctor, you got herbal remedies, you're bleeding people a lot.
Leeches, right?
And-
but you're also just kind of cutting people open.
What was that thing
sometimes.
that they would do? It was
They
like
would bleed
they
them.
literally would
Yeah.
like what was it called?
They would try and restore the humors.
Yeah.
the balance in the body.
Yeah.
And they would
And
look at like
bleach you.
bile and it was like,
give me your pee-pee. Let me
Meanwhile,
study your
in
pee-pee.
China, they literally developed vaccines
At this
Really?
time?
Yeah, they developed a
needles?
vaccine with no smallpox. They would. I have to look into this more. I'll tell you what I know now. I'm sure someone will write in. But they would take scabs of like people who were infected with smallpox, and it would turn it into a dust, and then kind of like snort a little of the dust, and it would develop a vaccine.
Wow.
Yeah.
wow.
Man.
That sounds like I made that up, but I'm pretty sure that's true.
I don't know. I got this new type
I'm
of drug.
pretty sure that's true.
That's
But they
where
were also
cocaine
like
came from?
sterilizing like cloth and stuff. Whereas we were
Yeah.
like, oh, I'll take Amber's bloody rag and I'll put it on Julie's bloody sore.
Yeah.
Like in Europe, they were just, there was
we
no
were
germ
dum-dums.
technology.
We were dum-dums.
It was a dark
This
time.
sounds
know.
nasty.
Just
Someone
someone
nasty.
someone from That's gross.
Nasty.
You should watch the movie Hard to Be a God. It's Adam and I have nerded out about that before, but it's like it's this guy, he goes to another planet, he's a scientist. And it's
so not real.
not real. And it's imagining if there was never a Reformation period. So it was just like all early Europe with like just the nasty, like they would have the director would like take chicken feet and dangle them over the camera just so you get this sense of like crowdedness and like nasty.
Girl, nasty.
Even though Martin Luther did start the Protestant Reformation, it is an important footnote to say that he also wrote a bunch of very anti-Semitic literature that
did?
the Nazis embraced in
No.
Nazi Germany. So, Martin Luther, it's as I teach my students, we give these really complicated people in history who, where they maybe some of their ideas are great and change history for good, but they could also have really awful ideas, and both things can exist at the same time. Thomas
Right.
Jefferson can do the first draft of the Declaration of Independence saying that America, the New World, will not allow slavery, and he can also own slaves. This hypocrisy exists
Yeah.
throughout human nature.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I feel like
Human
it
history.
was really hard to like check people.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like
People just
somebody
doing bad
comes out
stuff.
with some idea that's like people are trying to understand this idea, and then they say something else that's insane, and they're like, I don't know. I mean, he seems to know a lot.
Yeah, and people are also very much like products of their time.
Yeah.
Like anti-Semitism is huge in medieval Europe. Big time, big
Interesting.
time, big time, big time.
You know what I learned the other day? The Spanish Inquisition was a big, like, they just didn't like Jewish people. Crazy. I thought it was something else. I don't know. I hate that.
What'd you think it was?
I don't know.
I don't know. I have no
I
concept.
thought it was like witchcraft.
I'm like, this is, I know that I went to school. I was there. I know I read those books. I
Yeah.
know I passed some tests, but literally everything, a lot of it's just out the window.
It's tough.
There's a
It's
lot
really
going
tough.
on. There's
Yeah.
bills.
There's
The
only like a
bills.
few dates I remember,
Yeah.
Like I remember 476, Rome fell.
Yeah.
I remember 1066, William the Conqueror. I know July 4th, 1776, the Declaration of Independence was ratified. I know those dates.
Whoa.
I know my birth date.
Ugh,
That's about it.
good.
That's about it.
This July 4th is going to be our 250th year.
That's right.
And there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of bad stuff in the astrology zone.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Are we going to play pool later?
Yeah.
We'll discuss it.
Well,
Yeah.
I love that. Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have anything you want to say? I'm Amber Smelson.
What? I'm Amber Smelson.
That's nasty.
I'm Julie Rosing, and I'm nasty.
I'm Ashley McRoberts, and I'm nasty.
All right. Love you guys. Tune in next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.